What's up, everybody, and today we're checking out India's military might is on another level. This video popped up in my Discord DMs. Someone sent it me and said, hey, this is a really good video showing the general outline of the Indian military. So we're going to watch it, we're going to break it down, we're going to see what it's all about. This is by a channel called Battle Hub. I don't think I've seen this channel before. They're at 65.4 thousand subscribers. Let's get them up to 70,000 subscribers, shall we? I will leave a link down below to Battle Hub. Please go over there, give it a like, give it a subscribe. All that good stuff. Really important that you do that here in the military community, keeping each other bouncing up and up and up and working hard to make each other better. Before we get started, though, as always, check out Chug. 10% off. Link down below for the best drinking vessel in the world. These things are phenomenal. I use mine every day. They are genuinely incredible. I've got 4 of them now. Shout out to Chug for sending me 4. You can get free customization. So my initials right there, LJ. One of my other ones that's inside the house because I use it all the time actually has the Morale logo on it, which is absolutely sick. But yeah, they're really cool. 10% off. Handmade here in the UK with sustainable materials by a small business. You're not going to get any better than that. Free bag, free customization at 10% off. Link down below. Also, if you haven't already, check out my new business, Morale. This is a drink with functional mushrooms in it that make you energized, healthy. You know, it's good for your gut, it's good for your microbiome, all this stuff. There's loads of incredible benefits to it. In fact, what I'm doing, which I feel like a lot of other companies should do, is when the Morale website launches, when the drink launches, there's actually going to be a tab about the community, the Morale community. And it's going to have articles after articles showing you and telling you all different scientific studies as to why these functional mushrooms are genuinely beneficial to you. If you want to be part of the Morale movement, you can check out the Instagram. If you don't love the outdoors, if that's not your cup of tea, then you don't have to follow it. I just want to really make like a really tight-knit group of people who genuinely love the outdoors and want to consume beverages that align with that ethos. And if that is you, follow the Instagram right here. Also, let me pull this up. I recently signed off on the drinks. So to give you an update on where we're up to in the process, the drinks are getting canned as we speak, which is insane. On Friday, I drove all the way up to Glasgow to the factory where they're getting filled with the beverage to basically taste it one last time before it gets put into the cans. This was the first time I'd seen all the cans together, ready to be filled. Absolutely insane to see that. It's incredibly exciting. So if you want to be part of the journey, go ahead and follow the Instagram right here, or you can go on the website, pop your email in, and get a notification when the drink goes live. We've waffled on for like 3 minutes now, and I'm trying to keep that intro as short as possible. But let's watch this. Again, this is by a channel called Battle Hub. Make sure you go over there, give it a subscribe. Let's check out their channel and see what they've got to offer.
A country with over 1 billion people, thousands of years of history, and the world's spiciest food.
Can I just say, in my opinion, Indian food is the best food. I'm not talking about them weird videos where they're on the streets and there's like rats. I'm just talking about generic Indian food, curries, all this stuff. Perfection. Also, thousands of years of history. In my opinion, Indian history is some of the best history. The lore of that country is phenomenal. And I'm one of them who believe. You can go and check out Original Pagan, my other channel that I haven't updated in nearly a year now, which I really need to get back to. In my opinion, I believe that a lot of native European religions and paganism and all that is actually directly linked to Hinduism. That's another video, but you can give me your theories on that.
But behind the saris, samosas, and sacred rivers is a military that's so vast, so capable, and so battle-ready, you'd think it was coded by a Marvel villain. This is not the India you think you know. Because while some countries flex with parades, India just silently upgrades, drills in 3 climate zones.
Well, India does have parades as well. Let's not forget that. They do have parades, and they're very proud of their parade that they do. It doesn't mean that they don't neglect anything else. So
and prepares for war across land, sea, air, space, and cyberspace.
Love that paint job.
So buckle up, because India's military might, it's on another level. Let's talk geography, because India doesn't live in a quiet cul-de-sac.
No.
It's in the world's most intense neighborhood. To the north, you've got China.
Which, by the way, I've heard rumors that China are really developing their military in case they want to invade. I think Wall Street Journal did an article or a video recently saying how China's really putting a lot of military finances on that border and bolstering it, and there's a lot of gray area there, and it gets very intense. But it looks like China's really, and it doesn't mean that India's not. I'm just saying that if you're watching this and you're from India, might be something to keep an eye on. Although it's always ongoing, this border with China is just always being disputed. It seems like China are really putting a lot of finances into it at the moment.
Nuclear armed, high altitude, and constantly eyeballing mountain borders. To the west, Pakistan, with decades of tension and history that could fill its own Netflix series.
Seriously.
To the east, jungle borders with Myanmar, insurgent hotspots, and some of the toughest terrain on Earth. And to the south, the Indian Ocean, where everyone from the U.S. Navy to Chinese submarines likes to just hang out. In other words, India is surrounded by drama. But here's the twist. While most countries would freak out, India builds a defense force designed for permanent pressure. Because peace is nice, but being unbreakable, that's better.
I also admire how India, they don't necessarily align with any one country. They're very, very independent, right? You've got European countries like England who are very much the best friends with America, right? You've got Russia who are constantly trying to get in the pockets of China, right? You've got these kind of hardcore alliances that are always going to be there. India really like to play a bit of the middleman and independent, and I actually think that's such a smart move in this very fragile world that we live in right now.
India's army isn't just big, it's seasoned. With over 1.2 million active personnel and hundreds of thousands in reserve, it's one of the largest standing armies on the planet.
And
but
fastest
this isn't
growing.
Just about numbers, it's about experience. While some armies do war games in the desert once a year, Indian soldiers are literally fighting real skirmishes in the Himalayas, guarding borders at minus 30 degrees Celsius, and tracking insurgents through monsoon-soaked jungles.
That's the truth. There's no experience like genuine combat experience, right? Training is amazing. You can do as much training as possible. You can collaborate with other countries and do exercises, but nothing compares to the real deal.
Imagine doing combat patrols with frozen eyelids or humidity so thick your socks turn into soup. That's Tuesday in the Indian Army. And then we get to the elite units. Para-SF, India's special forces that train to jump into war.
What's that weapon? Yo, what is that? Is that a bullpup? It is a bullpup. His arm's covering where the magazine would go in. Very interesting. Looks very Halo, doesn't it? Looks like something out of Halo. What is that weapon? I got to Google that real quick. Let me Google it real quick. Para SF. I don't know. Weapons. Can we get a good idea of what that is? Is it this one? The IWI Tava? Is that what that is? Let's see if it's going to load up. I think it is, you know. Is it? I swear to God, links and pop-ups on websites these days are just out of control, aren't they? I'm on a website that's saying 5 weapons for the Para-SF. Yeah, that's the weapon. The Tava TAR-21 assault weapon to replace the Gali M16A1. Interesting. What do we know about this? It's available in 5.56 NATO and 9mm caliber rounds. Interesting. 30 round mag and is NATO Stanag compatible. Yeah, there you go. The TAR-21. I've never seen that before, that bullpup. Interesting bit of kit.
Zones from 30,000 feet up. They go behind enemy lines and vanish like a WhatsApp status. Gatak platoons, the army's pointy end of the spear. First in, last out, always loud. RR, Rashtriya Rifles. Fighting counterinsurgency operations 24/7. Not hypothetical, not training. Real combat, real bullets, real stakes. And they're not just trained for ground warfare. They're trained for multi-front conflict, From urban environments to mountain peaks higher than most planes fly. You want gritty? India's army defines it. Now let's talk sky supremacy. The Indian Air Force, or IAF, doesn't mess around. With over 1,500 aircraft, it's one of the biggest...
Is that including carriers and stuff? I'm presuming that's including carriers and surveillance and stuff like that. It's probably not all like attacking aircraft, is it? Let's be honest.
And most versatile air forces in the world. And it flies everything. You've got Sukhoi Su-30 MK-IS, multi-role monsters that dogfight like fighter jets and strike like bombers. Rafale jets, precision, speed.
That's a really nice looking jet, that, isn't it? That's really nice.
Stealth. These things could thread a needle from a mile away.
Yeah.
Tejas, India's indigenous fighter jet that proves make in India, also means mess with me and perish.
Tejas, I've never heard of that before. Never heard of that. That's a very interesting bit of kit. So this is homebrew. This is their own in-house built aircraft. Also, it's interesting to see this front part of the wings here. I'm always a fan of the large fixed wings like this that are like a big triangle. You get it with the European aircraft quite a bit. I'm a big fan of that. I think it looks really cool.
Oh, and the pilots? They train at altitudes where oxygen is a suggestion and landing strips are made of ice. But IAF's strength goes beyond jets. You've got AWACS for battlefield surveillance, airborne refueling tankers for long-range operations, and missile systems that give enemy aircraft approximately zero chances.
Size of that thing, then the girth on it.
Real conflict, India could deploy squadrons to multiple theaters, rain down firepower from 3 directions, and still have jets in reserve. And did I mention they once bombed a terrorist camp 80 kilometers into another country? Casually flew back and said, "Yup, we did that." Yeah, they don't bluff. Now, let's go aquatic. India's Navy is the silent assassin of South Asia.
So as far as I'm aware with their Navy, I think they've got 3 or 4 aircraft carriers and they plan on making 5 or 6. So they are actively working on more aircraft carriers. As far as I'm aware, I might be wrong there. Someone will have to quote me in the comments.
It guards over 7,500 kilometers of coastline, controls key shipping lanes in the Indian Ocean, and has eyes on every passing vessel. We're talking aircraft carriers, INS Vikrant and INS Vikramaditya, stealth destroyers, frigates, corvettes, and landing ships, and nuclear submarines that can launch ballistic missiles from under the damn ocean.
I wonder if India are thinking about what Britain's doing. For those of you who don't know, Britain is making this new aircraft carrier that is much smaller and only sends out drones. So it is an aircraft carrier specifically just for drones, and they've done that for multiple different reasons. 1, it's smaller, so it's cheaper to make. But 2, it's kind of the direction we're going in at. We do a lot of drone warfare these days, so they're specifically making ships that are drone aircraft carriers. And with India really quickly advancing with these aircraft carriers coming out, it does make me wonder, are they thinking about doing something about drone aircraft carriers, or are they just strictly sticking to the conventional aircraft carriers? If anyone's got any news on that, let me know in the comments.
The Navy doesn't just protect, it projects. It performs joint drills with the US, Japan, Australia, France, you name it. Why?
Yeah.
Because India knows something every superpower knows too. Whoever controls the Indian Ocean controls trade, and India has home field advantage. Plus, if things ever go nuclear, the Navy has INS Arihant, the nuclear-powered submarine with second strike capability. Meaning, even if everything else is taken out, India can still end you from under the waves. Their missile arsenal is no joke. Agni series. These are not firecrackers. They're long-range nuclear-capable ballistic missiles.
That's a big one, that, isn't it? That's a big... Do you know what I always wonder? When they do parades, because so many countries do military parades, right? Do they actually show their real missiles? Or are these just dummies just to just for the parade? Because if you think about it, that's a lot of money just going on parade there with a lot of public people around that can it can go wrong, couldn't it, really easily? So it does make me wonder, do they just put out dummies just to represent it, so that if anything went wrong, it can be like, hey, it wasn't our real one's back here, and now we're going to use it on you. Do you know what I mean? It does make me wonder, are they actually showing the real deal, you know?
BrahMos, one of the fastest cruise missiles in the world, co-developed with Russia. It hits targets faster than most people hit the snooze button, and they're not stopping there. India is investing in hypersonic tech, anti-satellite weapons, AI-enabled drones, and space surveillance. You know that time India shot down its own satellite in orbit just to prove it could? Yeah, that was the military equivalent of flexing in zero gravity.
Yeah, we've had a couple different countries do that now, and I think it's there's this constant like showing of what we're capable of, and when a big superpower like the US can do something like shoot down a satellite, these other countries that are escalating very quickly want to do the same, so they can also be like, look, we're doing the same thing, we're growing just as much. So that's what it's a show of power, isn't it? That's all it is.
And while other nations are figuring out drone warfare, India is already using domestically built UAVs for surveillance, target acquisition, and strike operations. This isn't just defense, it's domination through innovation.
Do you know what? I really like how hype this video is. It makes me want to play some Battlefield 6. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's hyping me up, this video, for the Indian military. I feel like there's a lot of other informational channels on militaries that aren't, they just feel like they're a bit soulless, you know? And yet, although some of the information it's giving is not like proving that India's the best in the world, they're just showing what they've got, it still hypes you up, and I appreciate that about this channel.
Not all wars are fought with bullets. The country knows the next major war could start with a keyboard, not a gun.
True.
So the country is building one of the most formidable cyber defense and cyber offense teams on the planet. They've got CERTIN, India's cyber emergency response team, RAW, the shadowy foreign intelligence agency that makes MI6 look like the Scooby-Doo gang.
Which I've heard, by the way, the Indian intelligence is the best in the world. Like, I've heard that it's better than the UK, the US, and all this other stuff. Primarily, the majority of their intelligence resources go into monitoring Pakistan. But I've heard that it is so robust that a lot of other countries aspire to be like the Indian intelligence community. That's what I've heard. Doesn't mean it's true. Don't listen to everything on the internet, guys. But apparently that's the truth.
NTRO, the tech spy wing that focuses on signals intelligence, satellite interception, and cyber espionage. From protecting infrastructure to disrupting terror networks, India's digital warriors are already fighting tomorrow's wars. Today. Here's the final boss level. India isn't just armed, it's nuclear armed, with a doctrine of no first use, but a guaranteed second strike that could end cities.
I like that. No first use. Look, we're not going to do it first. We've got the integrity not to do it first, but if you do it, you know what's going to happen.
With a triad of nuclear delivery systems, land, air, and sea, India ensures that any attack ends in instant regret. But the real strength? Resilience. India has fought multiple wars, faced insurgencies, and bounced back from terror attacks without crumbling. Its soldiers are battle-tested, its people are proud, and its doctrine is clear. We don't want war, but if you bring it, we finish it. So, yeah, next time someone says India is just software engineers, spicy food, and spiritual gurus, remind them it's also one of the largest, most experienced militaries in the world.
It's one of the, I think what's more important is it's one of the fastest growing, and they're very neutral. Like I said at the start, they're one of the fastest growing countries with their military power, and they're neutral. That is inspiring, to be honest with you. That's not a lot of other countries are growing as quickly as India are. In fact, I don't think any country is. So people need to look at that as a model.
A nuclear power with cutting-edge tech, a regional powerhouse with global reach, and a nation that trains for every possible threat.
They're also incredibly proud of who they are. There's a lot of countries in the West who don't have that anymore, especially here in England. Not a lot of people who are proud to be who they are. In India, there is this profound belief in themselves, which is lacking in a lot of other countries. And although that doesn't seem much, that might sound like culture wars or all that other crap. What it actually means is when you've got boots on the ground and they're fighting, there's a bit more determination to get the job done. it's a big morale boost, isn't it? That's what it is.
Just in case the unthinkable becomes real. And while India believes in peace, it's fully prepared for war. Hit that like button if you learned something new. Subscribe if you want more military deep dives like this. And remember, never underestimate quiet strength, especially when it has 1.4 billion people behind it. Until next time, stay smart, stay curious, and maybe don't pick a fight with India.
That was a really good video. I really enjoyed that. I'll leave a link down below to Battle Hub and this video. Make sure you go over there, give it some love. Okay, really, really good video. I love watching videos about the Indian military. I have this soft spot, you could say, for Indian culture and the stories that are produced from that culture. It's just, I mean, that's why I have that other channel, isn't it? Which I should get back to at some point. Let me know in the comments if you want me to get back to Original Pagan. Maybe I will. This is kind of like motivating me to do it. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. I'll leave a link down below to the OG video. Check out Morale if you haven't already. Be part of the movement. Also, check out Chug. 10% off. Link down below. Other than that, I love you all. Have a wonderful day. Goodbye.